Hey, it's Mark from Rosa Photo. Today I'm going to show you in this Luminar tutorial how you go from this photo to this photo. Before you start editing a photo, I always tell my students to think about what you want to achieve, because if there is no goal, it is really hard to make something special of your photo. And of course you can improve the exposure a little bit and the colors, but those are just the general adjustments you make in a photo. But if you really want to create something special or you're not happy with a photo, first think why you're not happy, what do you want to change, and then you can look into Luminar with all the filters how you can achieve the desired photo. So if you look at this photo, what I like about this photo, I made it in Chefchaouen in Morocco, the blue city, a fantastic place to walk around. But if you walk around there in the middle of the day, the sunlight is very harsh. As you can see, you see that the shadow is kind of small, which means that the sun was really on top of us. And what I don't like too much in this photo is that the lady walking here is quite dark, while she is the most important thing. It is basically the subject of the photo, and the subject really should stand out in a photo, and that doesn't happen because the walls here on the right side and on the left side and even this building, they are much brighter, and that's why the street in general gets more attention. So that's what I want to change in this photo. So how are we going to do that? First, I start with the raw develop filter. It's the filter I basically use in the first step when I edit my photos, and I want to decrease the highlights first because I think the exposure in the street is too bright. So let's see what happens. Well, that already improves quite a lot. It also makes this building a little bit darker, and it is something I like because now the building is darker, it gets less attention, and later we can increase the exposure of the lady here to make sure that she is really the subject in the photo. So I like the result of decreasing the highlights. I go even a little bit further like this because it gets more details in the street here. Let's check the shadows. I don't want to pull up the shadows too much because it makes the walls brighter, so maybe a little bit, but not too much. The whites, it makes the building brighter again. Well, a little bit is fine, but not too much. And the blacks, I don't think I want that because it makes the walls even darker and it makes it too dark. So I don't do anything with the blacks. So let's see what the clarity does. It is a cityscape photo, and there's a lot of structure, like here in the street, in the walls, in the houses. So I think clarity can work out pretty well. Well, it does, but not too much because it doesn't look nice. Usually I don't go further than 20 with this slider. I think it looks okay like this. Let's see if you can change the contrast. You can do it by using this slider, but you don't have too much control because it influences the whole photo. I prefer to use the advanced contrast filter of Luminar because you can edit the contrast of the highlights, the midtones and the shadows separately. So let's check the highlights first. So what you can see, it basically decreases the contrast a little bit. It makes mainly this building a little bit darker, and the blue even gets more visible in that building. It's something I like, but not too much. Let's keep it like this. And the way I use this slider, also very important to know, I don't look at the numbers too much, because if you go all the way to the right, you think, it's the 70s, so it's way too far, I shouldn't do that. Well, that's not the way to edit your photos. The best thing to do is just to grab the slider, move it a little bit, and keep your eyes focused in the photo and release the slider when you're happy with the result. And it doesn't matter if the value is 70, 50 or 20, it will really depends on the type of photo you have. Let's do the same with the balance, like this. And I don't think I want to change the midtones. No, that's only in the walls, as you can see. And the shadows, it can be a little bit brighter. Not the balance to the right because it makes it really black. Can be nice though for a black and white photo, but I want to keep this photo blue because it's the blue city. I don't want to ruin that color, of course. Let's keep it like this. I go back to my raw develop fields because what I also want to change is I don't like that this line is not straight. And the blue city is a very old city, so not all the houses are straight, but I pointed my camera a little bit down here, so that's why those lines are, at least this line is not straight and it distracts me a little bit. So let's see what we can do with transform. I have to make a correction in the vertical lines. So let's see how much we can change that. I think a little bit more. The slider doesn't move so smooth, probably because I'm also recording a video. Well, like this. That already looks much better. You can see we lose pixels here in the top and on the left and the right side, but that's not a big issue because we can look right away to the crop tool to see how we want this photo, how we want the composition. What I don't like too much is a little part of this window, so you don't show too much like this, so then I prefer to remove it completely, like this. And I want to use this line as a line that starts in the bottom right corner, so I move this a little bit up, like this. I think I'm happy with this crop. You can also see that this line is good, it's vertical compared to the door here. And well, this window is not completely parallel with the side, but probably that also has to do with the old houses where not everything is exactly vertical. So let's keep it like this. I press done to apply it, and let's continue with, well, let's check the lens correction also. I forgot about that. Chromatic aberration, I always turn it on, even if it's not there. It doesn't hurt the photo. Even after lens correction, you see that the line here is still good, so I'm really happy with that. I like the windows here, so I don't want to crop it more. Well, I'm happy like this. Alright, let's continue. We apply the contrast, so let's go down, and here comes the trick for the change of the subject, because as you can see, the women is still kind of dark and the light is still in the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a very heavy vignette, so that makes the corners and the sides of the photo really dark. And now it is too dark, but you can already see the result, like the women here in the middle already pops up in a better way than without the vignette, because you go from this to this. I think the sides are a little bit too dark now, so let's feather it a little bit. That makes the corners and the borders that got dark because of the vignette a little bit softer. So let's do it even more. And the roundness, let's play around with that. Well, let's keep it like this. So as you can see, this really made a huge difference, but I can even improve it in a better way, and I will show you. What I want to do first, I still think the street is a little bit too bright. I want to make it darker. I'm going to do that with adding a filter, and I will do that with the highlights filter, highlights and shadows filter, and I reduce it to the minus, and I only look at the street, how the effect is in the street, because I will apply a mask, so it only applies in the street and not in the house, because the house really gets too dark in this way. So let's do it like this. I will apply a mask. I invert it, which means that everything here in the mask is black, and that means the effect of -61 isn't applied anywhere, but here I can select the brush, and now I can brush in all the parts where the -61 have to apply. So I do that with the size is 100. That really depends on the type of photo you will edit, but the opacity, it is 50%, which means if I go over this part, the effect is not applied 100% right away. I have to do it twice to go to the 100%, but I only do that if it is needed. So I go around here in the bright parts, and as you can see, the left side is a little bit brighter than the right side, so I only do the left side twice. And here in the little icon you can see exactly which parts are selected. So it goes around the lady here, and it was like this, and now it is like this, and as you can see, you get more structure. So I'm happy now with the exposure in the street. Let's do another trick to make sure the lady pops out even better. I add another filter. This time I go for the brightness filter, brightness and contrast, and there are other filters you can apply to get the same or similar results, but in this video I will use the brightness and contrast filter. I increase the brightness. Again, I don't look at the whole photo, I only look at the lady. So I think the exposure here in the dress of the lady is really nice. Also here I will add a mask. I do the same, I invert it, so the +31 isn't applied anywhere, and again I use the brush to tell Luminar where to apply the effect. So in this case I would love to see it here, to make this a little bit brighter. I don't want to go in the head too much, because the head is already quite bright. So it was like this, and now it's like this. I think that already looks much better. And if you want to increase the brightness even more, it is possible by pulling the slider more to the right. And as you can see, I also selected a little part of the wall here, and on the left side it is easy to erase that, because here on the top you can select erase. Let's make this a little bit smaller, and I can go over it here and here to make the selection a little bit smaller. Alright, so I think 55 is a bit too much, so let's put it in 38, like this. Yeah, that already gives a good result. So that's how you change the attention from the whole photo to a more specific part in the photo, because we made the whole photo a little bit darker, except the subject, we made the subject a little bit brighter. And as you can see, this was the photo before, this is what it is now, and the lady is more the subject in the photo, and that's exactly what I wanted to achieve. Alright, this is the end of the Luminar tutorial. Please let me know below this video in the comments if you like it. If you have any specific questions about Luminar, also let me know by leaving a comment, because we would love to make extra Luminar tutorials based on your questions. So please leave a comment, let me know where you're from, also very nice to know. And keep an eye on our YouTube channel, because soon we will release more Luminar tutorials, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also tell your friends, that's the only thing I can ask for those free tutorials. Spread the word, spread the videos wherever you want to make this YouTube channel bigger. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.